This is New School Marketing Podcast for real estate pros, where the very best of real estate reveal their latest systems and strategies. With your host, Marlon Aquino.
What's up, guys? Marlon Aquino here with a new episode of New School Marketing for top pros right here. We have a special guest for you guys I'm really excited about. I've been following this realtor for a while now. He's been hard to get on the show. He's blowing up, man. So really excited to have him here. He's a top producer out of North Carolina. I believe he's 30 on the 30, 20 on the 20. He's got all the accolades you can think of. Today, we have special guest Andy Grinsinger on.
How's it going?
What's up, bud? Thanks so much for coming on. Really appreciate this.
It's good to see you. Thanks for having me. Sorry, it takes a little while to get these things set up sometimes. I do appreciate the persistence, that's for sure.
No, definitely. Hey, come on. You're a busy guy. We're just lucky to have you on the show. I think you just finished mentioning you were having lunch, so not too far from there, right?
Yeah, literally like right here
Right.
was where I had lunch today.
Guys,
And
this
you
is
literally finished about 5 minutes ago.
no, this is insane. Obviously, you're a busy guy. Completely understandable. Busy's good, man. Busy's good, especially in these times. So let's not hold the audience off too long with this. I know they want to dive right in. Thank you again for coming on, guys. We're gonna start really tackling the art of selling real estate using video. It's something that a lot of you guys want to do, and only a number of realtors are doing it exceedingly well. And Andy certainly is at the top of that list. So, Andy, just for those of us that don't know who you are, can you just give us a little intro about who you are and what you were doing before real estate?
Sure. So I'm an agent here in Charlotte, North Carolina, licensed in North and South Carolina because we're very close to the South Carolina border. I've been doing this for about almost 5 years now. And in my previous life before real estate, I was actually in commercial real estate for a little while. And so I started and if you go further back, I worked for a nonprofit for the fraternity that I was a part of in college. So I was traveling the country. I visited over 60 college campuses in 2 years, sleeping on couches, living out of the back of or the trunk of a car. It was quite the learning lesson about dealing with people all the time. That's for sure.
And always being on the go, it sounds like.
I mean, always on the go, which is great. I love that. And so then got into commercial real estate sales. So I started working at a commercial real estate brokerage and went from there into commercial real estate financing. Wow. And so after the commercial real estate financing, kind of made my way into residential brokerage.
Well, so obviously, listen, there's a hundred things we could have done. You could have been a dentist. You could have been a heart surgeon. Why real estate?
I was always kind of intrigued by real estate. My dad always jokes that it was the worst decision he ever made, which was telling me to read Rich Dad, Poor Dad in college. And so he jokes about it now, but for a little while, I think he was serious about that. But ever since reading that book, I understood that, the goal would always be to have your money make money for you and have your money work for you. And so the biggest way that I felt like I could accomplish that was through real estate. And so I figured the best way to learn about how real estate could accomplish that is through selling real estate. And so basically, I got into it because I really wanted to learn the ins and outs of the industry. So that way, when I was able to actually invest in real estate, I could, and I knew what I was doing.
So that was part of the plan going in, right? It's like, I'm going to help people with, the purchase of their home or selling it, but I'm going to start purchasing homes myself and become an investor, right?
Exactly.
I love that. Honestly, I think that a lot of people, especially these days, are looking for a way out. And honestly, reality is everything works, but you got to stick to the one thing and commit to it. And you've done that. So I actually want to get into that because I think you had an amazing start. I know that you went, I think about maybe a year and a half, maybe even longer, heavy on video. but I did see in doing some of research that you even met with Ryan Serhant out of New York City. Like, what was that? Obviously, you knew you didn't want to be the average real estate agent. Going into it, what did you kind of have in mind? How did that look like for you?
Going into like the meeting with Ryan or just real estate?
I mean, a little bit of both, obviously, right? Because I think you got into real estate, you had an idea of what it was going to be like, but then you took it another step and met with Ryan, one of the top guys in real estate. So that says a lot about, what you're trying to build yourself.
Yeah, I mean, getting into real estate, like for me, the big thing was that when I did commercial brokerage, I didn't sell anything. And so I went completely broke doing commercial real estate sales. And so when I got into residential brokerage, there was no other option. It was, I'm going to do whatever I can, whatever I need to in order to succeed at this, or at least just not go broke again. And so making sure, like, to me, it was like, what was the wall that I had? Or instead of having like a why, like obviously in real estate, people talk about having your why, like, why do you get up every day? Why do you do what you do? Why do you like doing this? All those kinds of things. Yeah. To me, it's almost more like, what are you running from? What in your life do you run from every single day that is going to be the reason that you have no other option than to succeed in this industry? And so when I first started, the idea was I was running from the fact that I had gone completely broke once in commercial real estate. And so there was no other option than to just crush this.
Make it work. So obviously mindset was a big play here, which I think a lot of people are struggling to do, right? Because like selling real estate, doing marketing compared to heart surgeon, which I mentioned earlier, big gap there, right? But you definitely got to have a will to want to do it and a passion for it, which it sounds like you do. You did a bunch of traveling. You've been around the country. Why North Carolina?
I always liked North Carolina. I mean, I have a lot of family. So I'm from Maryland, and my brother lives up near Maryland. My dad still lives in Maryland. My grandmother lives up in that general area. But then also I have a lot of family that lives in a few different parts of North Carolina. And then when I was in college in Virginia, so I went to Virginia Tech, which is 2.5 hours from Charlotte. We came down to Charlotte a lot, and I always really liked the city. And I liked the idea of the fact that it's a banking city, a very corporate town. So there's a lot of good jobs here with 2 pro sports teams that are well attended. So people have some camaraderie in the city, which now has grown even more. And we have the wealthiest owner in the NFL here in Charlotte. And so there's a lot of money being funneled into the city. And it just felt like it was a good place to be that was close to family, close to Virginia Tech, and a place that had to grow. And it's just absolutely exploded in the last, I've been here for 8 years, and since then it's changed dramatically.
Yeah, no, you've been part of that wave that's been happening there. But really, it's admiring, obviously. I also saw that, in one of my research, I saw Florida plate somewhere. Were you at one point in Florida by any chance?
No.
When I was watching your Ryan Serhant video, I saw Florida license plate and getting ready, and I was like, wait a second, because I'm from Florida, so I'm a little biased.
Gotcha. So that was in the peak of COVID in September of 2020. And that was back when New York had a lot of very strict restrictions. And so I couldn't fly with my entire video crew up there without worrying about getting stuck or getting turned around. And so we decided to rent a car and drive. And so that's why you saw the Florida rental car that we had that we used to go to New York.
But again, great backstory to that. It's like, by any means necessary, you were going to make that happen. And I love you brought that up. That kind of leads us right into, obviously, why you met with Ryan Serhant. How did that even come about? How can someone else do that?
Well, so he has a course. It's a great course. He has a lot of different options when it comes to, we'll call it like the entry levels of the course. And he has a pro level. And once you get to the pro level and you pay for the pro level, part of the perk or benefit of that is you get access to him and his team, and you get to meet with them. And so kind of tying all of this in, I was very heavy on video, but still needed to grow and learn more about video. And who better to learn from than Ryan and his team? And so that was exactly why I went up there, was because I wanted to learn how to amplify what I was doing already and continue to grow the video presence and continue being able to put out solid content all the time.
Right. Yeah, no, video obviously is a staple. You can't succeed, I think, in the future without video, without a personal brand. I think you'll stay part-time. You'll stay a part-time agent if you don't do these things. And that's a scary thing to have on the side of the part-time thing, unless you have something stable already. So let's get right into it. I mean, can we get a little bit into that clarification that you got with Ryan, meeting with Ryan, and what were the things that changed afterwards in your video? Because honestly, you've done such a great job. And I think people look at starting with video like it's an uphill. And maybe it is at first, but how do you get through it? How do you get to the other side of things where things are great?
It's funny because I still don't personally think that things are great. I feel like I'm still growing and learning and building. And I think that's part of it, is always wanting to learn. And, when I met with Ryan, I obviously was doing some videos and was working on posting once a week and doing all kinds of different content. But after meeting with him, it's like you can learn different strategies for everything about business from someone like that. And so just being able to sit across from the table from him and have literally, I'm not kidding. One of his guys was sitting in my branding meeting and he pulled up my YouTube channel and he goes, "When I take the first glance at your YouTube channel, I have no idea what you do." And that was eye-opening, because it's like, you really have to focus on the brand and being able to put this content out and make sure that the audience and the consumers know exactly what you're doing and exactly why you're doing it all the time.
Right. No, I think that's so important. Having doing video or anything that you really do that's that you're doing to generate business, is to do it with intent, right? So it's like you were doing videos, but you were doing it without intention. You were doing it without necessarily a end goal. So what were some of the changes that you were able to get from that meetings that you applied and obviously started getting the wheels moving for you?
I'm trying to move so I can get better cell service for this. Again, sorry that.
No, I love this. It's actually this is making me feel like it's a Jay Leno driving show or Seinfeld. Don't worry, I love it.
A lot of the stuff that I really focused on changing after I met with Ryan was actually putting out more content. That was the biggest takeaway. Was I was putting out a good amount of content, but I needed to actually put out even more. And so that was where, I literally sat there with him and his team and had asked them, like, how do I make sure I continue to outperform people in Charlotte, because everyone's kind of catching on and trying to do more when it comes to video because they see that I'm doing video. And his advice really was just keep doing it and do more, because people are going to get worn out and you need to just have endurance and outperform and continue to just dig and push and have, like, the perseverance is honestly the biggest thing. And so being able to persevere and endure this, because it's a lot of work. Like, people don't understand how much work is in a lot of these videos and prepping the videos and everything like that. So being able to just continue to put even more content out when it would be so easy to start pumping the brakes right now on stuff, has honestly been one of the biggest factors since that meeting.
Right. No, I think, wow, that's it goes back to his big thing, right? Big money energy. It's like, hey, man, I was like, just make sure you have more energy than the next guy, and you're going to just forget it. You're going to outperform them. You're going to outlast them eventually. I really love that. And actually, that's the second thing I wanted to get into. Video can be overwhelming. And sometimes it feels like video is owning people instead of people owning the video. So for you, is it a structure? Is it having a team? What really helps you, one, be consistent, and two, you have some clarity into what you are going to do? Is it having a team? Is this doing it in advance? Is it planning it? Do you, script things? Do you, just on top of your head, just talk? What's that process like? Because I know a lot of people just think about all these things, but how can you simplify for them?
The biggest thing is having help. Because if you're trying to do real estate deals, you're trying to meet new clients, you're trying to close out transactions, you're trying to negotiate new deals, you're networking, you're going to lunches, you're going to dinners, you need to have it. And then you want to add video on top of that, and like filming video, getting the equipment, editing the videos. I mean, filming is the short part. Editing is what takes forever. And prepping the videos, all that kind of stuff, you have to have help. And so I hired a whole video production team because they help me with prepping videos. They help us. I mean, they show up to my place the day of shooting, and we have a full timeline where we're going to go, when we're going to go there, and what things I'm going to talk about when we get there. And so all I'm doing is taking a couple hours worth of prep, filming all day, and then maybe not even an hour after filming of giving some comments of the rough draft and making sure that we have it kind of nice and crisp and clean the way that we want it to look for the actual video to be posted. Now, a lot of people would have their own marketing team who posts on social media, but to me, my social media stuff is my baby, and so I don't let anyone touch that. And that's where I'm posting the videos and writing the captions and doing everything like that. Themselves, like, having help and having a team that you can pay to do this stuff for you is huge, because I don't know how to do that stuff, and I don't want to take the time to learn, because that time I'm trying to learn, I could be, putting more contracts together.
Yeah, no, totally. I agree. It's just again, focus on the how and not on the who and not the how. Especially at your level, you're busy. It's the best thing to do. But now I actually want to get into a little bit of the structure of your videos, because I think you're doing such a great job, and all of us can look at it from outside the box. But there's a lot that goes into what you're doing, that, and why you're having the success with video that you're having. And there's a lot of few stuff. I noticed that I just started your video. You do a few things. One, you have an intro where you're kind of walking in the neighborhood, and you're having a coffee, and you always mention some kind of local establishment in the area, which is great, right? Because a lot of people that are going to be watching that video either want to move there, want to know those things, or live there and can relate to it. So that's one. The second thing that I really noticed also is how you also, before you even get going with the rest of your video, you already planting the seed. Hey, like this video, subscribe. There's all these little strategy things that you're doing so well. Obviously, that comes a little bit with having that team with you, right, to handle some of that, correct?
Oh, absolutely. And that's where, the reason for doing the like and subscribe at the beginning is because when you start analyzing the videos and the performance of them, you see that after a certain amount of time, a lot of people drop off. And so instead of doing it at the very end when no one's watching, you do it at the very beginning when everyone's watching. But, that's where when we talk about these hyper local videos, we try to find different places to feature without being too obnoxious when it comes to featuring them, because a lot of agents will do the whole, like, they'll feature these different restaurants, or they'll feature different businesses in town, and that's really cool. But like, if you're only featuring one place, then what if someone doesn't like that place? Or what if someone doesn't live near there? Or what if they want to watch and want to learn about 3 or 4 or 5 different places? And you could do that in a few minutes. But if you're only featuring one place, it's like you're kind of pigeonholing yourself a little bit. So that's why I like to start with a place. If I grab a cup of coffee, it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to go run into Brakeman's real quick across the street in downtown Matthews. Yeah. And that way people are like, oh, cool, Brakeman's. If I ever go to Matthews, I know that place now. Or they've already been there. And so doing that kind of stuff, it just adds to like the recognition for people, which is great because it helps build rapport very quickly.
Yeah, no. It's all in the details, right? The little things are the ones that really make the difference. And why people are going to want to work with you because of that. So I always say the way you do everything is the way you do anything. Again, like when, Ryan's team looked at your YouTube, it's like, hey man, if I went on your YouTube channel, I wouldn't know what you did. That's a big no, right? The same thing when you're on your Instagram. And I actually want to get into that. You have an amazing branding across all your channels. Obviously, you say you do your own Instagram account, but do you have some help when it comes with the graphic or making sure that everything does look congruent across all channels? Or you're doing this all yourself?
The graphic that is on the page, or like the graphics that are on my page, are cover photos that we put together that the video production team does with me. So I'm not designing the graphics or anything like that, but I'm making sure that we're doing photo shoots to have lifestyle pictures to post, and we're taking these cover photos when we're out filming, like all kinds of different stuff like that. I'm making sure we're doing, but I'll post the content, but they're the ones that are kind of curating it, editing it for me.
Yeah, no, totally. And with that in mind, actually leads right into what I want to get into next, which is, we talked about you filming it, some of the little intricacies that you are doing within the videos that really make the difference. Once it's filmed, it's edited. What happens next? At least in your case, I mean, does it go? It lives on, Instagram and YouTube. That's it, or what else do you guys do? How do you use that piece of content?
I'll post it on YouTube. I'll post it on Instagram, and then I'll push it out to Facebook as well and LinkedIn. And then I've started dabbling a little with TikTok, but I really don't do too much with it because I don't really understand all of that. And I'm not going to do dances and all kinds of videos like that.
I tried looking for you. I did look for you.
We kind of post.
I couldn't find you.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not very good with the TikTok stuff.
It's definitely a new thing, and it seems like if you do want to get into it, there's only a number of things that you can do, which that actually I want to change that, because just like you, I don't want to go in there and start pointing and whatnot, right? There's, I think, other ways that we can leverage that media. And I think some people are figuring it out. They're definitely working into it, but it's one of those things where it's all experimental. No one has really paved the way on what to do and how to do it on TikTok just yet. So it's definitely new grounds.
Right. Yeah, and that's where, I was just going to say, that's where, I'm posting to all the different platforms, and that's where, like, to me, the next step would be having very curated content for each platform versus posting one thing to every platform. But it's just a matter of getting it out there. And that's the other piece, is like, a lot of people get stuck in analysis paralysis, and they want to have the content curated for TikTok and then Instagram and YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn, and making sure that everything is perfect for all of that. But instead, like, I'd rather keep posting videos, and then when I get to the point that I feel like I really need to do that, then we can start implementing that. And so it's layering everything versus just trying to make it perfect from day one.
Right. I tell all my clients, say, hey, this is a journey that we're embarking on. It's like signing up for the gym on January 1st. You can't get disappointed 30 days later if you don't see the results, your end result just yet. It's going to take some time. And it isn't just showing up to the gym. It's eating right. It's, there's so many little things. So I definitely understand that.
Drinking water.
Yeah, hey, man, water. Hey, that's actually Will Smith's son's water, right? That's amazing.
Thanks, so.
So real quickly, obviously you've got great production with the video. You're putting it on all your social media. Yes, honestly, if you could, for each platform, have its own thing, it's of course always better, higher conversions maybe. But again, progress over perfection any day, right? Get started, and little by little, like you say, you add on different things. I kind of want to get a little bit into the advertising part of it. Obviously it's great. You did the video, but for someone who doesn't have the following that you have on Instagram or Facebook, that really doesn't mean shit having a great video, because no eyes is going to get on it. So, I mean, obviously with YouTube, you've got the SEO stuff that you can do to help you get that, get those viewerships up. How are you doing it on other places like Instagram? Are you relying on paid ads, or are you just, relying on just like your personal brand?
A little bit of both. And that's where I would say, like, if you don't have that do what you can to really learn about the algorithms and how the algorithms work, because there is a lot to learn about that, and they do change every single day, but they are it's very real what they will do to push videos out and push content out if you're playing by the rules when it comes to the algorithm and what they're favoring when it comes to their algorithms. And so that's literally what I was just at lunch talking to one of my buyers about just now, was he understands how all these different algorithms work for all these different platforms. And so that's the key, is you have to feed the beast. And so even though they're changing all the time, you really need to figure out what they want to see, and you need to give that to them. There's no use in trying to fight that. And so that's where, if you don't have like a big following, or you don't have the capital to be able to put out paid ads, learn the algorithm, learn how to feed the beast, learn how to keep Instagram happy when you're posting stuff, and they'll keep you happy because they'll put you in front of more people. So that is the biggest piece. If you don't have the ability to have a large following to fall back on, or have a ton of money to be advertising and paying for ads.
Yeah, it's either one or two things. If you don't have the money and you have the time, then yeah, you got to learn these strategies. You got to learn how the algorithm works so that you can use it to your advantage, because you have that time. And it becomes a tool later on that becomes invaluable, and it's what gives you the edge compared to other agents. And if you do have the money to do it, here's the problem with it too. The second you stop paying for it, the traffic stops. So, you know, they each have their pros and cons. It's really about finding the right balance. So I really love that. I really love to hear that, because I think it's very important. So perfect. Awesome. I think really we've covered a lot of the stuff I want to really cover, honestly, from video and how you're doing it. You've done such an amazing job. I think there's so much people can learn from here. The last thing I just kind of really wanted to get into is, because you're doing such great video, you're doing such a great job on social media, your personal brand seems to be just like blowing up by the minute. What's your follow-up like, right? You've got eyes on you because, you know, some of your videos have 12,000, 18,000 views on YouTube, and on Instagram probably more. What's that process like? Because that's, for a lot of agents, is the tricky portion right after. It's like, okay, people are watching my video. Like, how do I turn that viewership into a lead, into a prospect? What's that like for you?
I mean, honestly, that's where the consistency comes into play. Because if people are continuing to watch you versus just seeing a cool video one time, if they're continuing to watch you, they'll subscribe to your channel, or they'll follow you on Instagram, and then they'll keep watching stuff. And then as soon as they have a question about real estate or need help, top of mind, and they will reach out because of that. And that is the biggest key, that's where the consistency piece comes into play. Say consistency is key with this stuff, but it truly is, because as soon as you stop, you're out of sight, out of mind. And if someone else is posting videos all the time, they're not out of sight or out of mind.
Yeah, no, totally. And let me ask, because I know some of my agents, some of the other past interviewers that I've had here saying, hey, at least those that are heavy on video, they're saying a lot of those referrals are actually coming in from the DM now. So is that something you're experiencing too with your brand, where people are reaching out to you to DM for help?
Absolutely. DMs, or they'll email me because they watch YouTube.
Right.
Yep.
What is that? Just so that people have an idea of what they can expect when they think that they're at your level. What does that look like? You know, you get hit up once, twice a week from Instagram, a couple times, you know, like, is that, you know, obviously not anything you want to rely on, but I'm sure it's enough for you to want to keep doing it. So,
it's hard to tell exactly what it would be every single week or every day, but there are some weeks where there's multiple leads that will come in through that, and there's some weeks where there's nothing. But there was one weekend that I had 2 different buyers reach out specifically because they watched my YouTube videos. They emailed me, and they were both around 500 price point, and I got them both under contract in one weekend. It was over $1 million in business in one weekend, and it was directly because of YouTube. And they both had emailed me to learn more about my business and learn about how I might be able to help them. And then a couple of weeks later, it was a good week. And so it's the kind of thing that, but they do start trickling in, and it does come in waves. So there are weeks where I don't get anything, but then there'll be weeks where I'll get a couple at a time.
Right. And let me ask you, what is the takeaway from doing these videos? Is there a theme, a pattern of what people are saying about why they reached out to you after having watched your video, or not, or no, you don't really get to that part?
I definitely do. And a lot of people will start saying that they watch the videos and they like the videos. And so what I've noticed is that instead of focusing more on just trying to get the most amount of leads, it's like with these videos that I'm putting out, I'm getting better quality leads. And they're better quality people that are DMing me or reaching out from YouTube because they've been watching me for a while and they already pretty much know that they want to work with me. Mm-hmm. It's just that by the time they get in touch with me, I need to make sure that I'm on my game and don't look like an idiot, but I want to make sure that they are feeling like they made the right decision by reaching out to me.
Right. And I think part of the what we really haven't gotten into too much, I'm glad it actually came up now as we are wrapping up, is that more than just the actual strategy to the video and coming up with what to say, where to shoot it, a big factor, and that is where I lead with always with all my clients, is you are what they're buying, though. You know, how you present yourself, the energy that you are exuding, the certainty that, you know, that when you talk, that is what is leading them essentially to you. Because like you said, there are going to be other top players that are also doing video around you, but it's that connection, that intent that you're setting in that video that really does all the work. So I really hope that people watching take away from it, because I've seen you do that, whether it's videos where you're talking about interests that you have in cars, in watches. It isn't just real estate. It isn't just local businesses. You've done a really great job at showcasing your personality. And that, I think, is what is attracting other people. People want to work with people that they think are like them, at least, or that they like, right? So I think that that's a huge thing, being likable in the video. I think I've seen a lot of people come off and they're very, you know, I know what I'm doing, and I don't know. Your videos are so, I forget, I'm not buying a house. I'm just doing research on Andy, because they're so easygoing. It's almost like listening to a Joe Rogan podcast. I'm learning something. I feel entertained. I don't feel like I'm being sold. So that's a key takeaway here, guys. All the strategies, all your knowledge, that doesn't mean anything if you're not likable. And actually, that leads me into what you were saying, right? Your CL, what is it, CLT?
Yeah, TLC.
TLC. Trust, right? Trust, like, and credibility. Am I right?
That's right. Yeah, trustability, likability, and credibility. And that's why you'll never see me on the videos. And maybe I do it, or I don't know if I've done it, but so I might put my foot in my mouth. But you don't see me say like, oh, well, if you need buying and selling and investing needs, call me because I'm a realtor. Like, let me help you because I'm a realtor. It's like, I don't like doing any of that stuff. I'd rather talk about different things, have people see that I know what I'm talking about, and then they can reach out to me versus me feeling like I'm trying to bug them to call me.
Right. No, I love it. Honestly, that's magnetic marketing right there. Pulling, people towards you, not pushing or forcing them. So, Andy, thank you so much. You really shed some light into what's working for you. And I think there's definitely tons of stuff here that anyone watching can take away and start implementing immediately. One thing obviously is do video and do it consistently, regardless of where you're at. And I think that's really huge. So to end and wrap this show, let me see, we have a few people on the IG Live here. Awesome. I want to just finish off with what I call the Buzz 10 by Lipton questions. So something you might not know about me, I've been doing marketing for about a year and a half. I've been growing my business steadily, really happy where it's going. But what I really do outside of here is also I'm an actor. I moved to Los Angeles from Florida a few years to be a performer. And there's a show on Bravo, or used to be actually, called The Actor Studio. And the host, James Lipton, he would obviously interview top celebrities, A-listers, people who we all admire, Al Pacino, all these big actors, right? Robert De Niro. And he would always finish with these 10 questions that I'm a big fan of. And I would love to actually end with these 10 questions. So awesome. So yes, these 10 questions, the first thing that comes off top of your mind, don't overthink it. That's what it is. So let's get to it. Let me find my questions and roll with it. All right, here we go. Question number 1. What is your favorite word? Can be tricky.
I would say persistence.
Persistence. I love that. You're that guy's persistence. What is your favorite least word?
Maybe victim. Like when people like victimize things all the time, it's never their fault, and they never want to put in the work, and they never want to like change situations or whatnot, because that's the beautiful thing about the world and what we can do. That's what real estate.
Yeah, no, a go-getter. Exactly. No, you have to either a victim or a victor, right? All right. Question number 3. What turns you on?
Contracts.
Contracts. The sound of ching, right? All right. What sound or what turns you off?
People who are very unethical.
Right? Like, how can you do business with someone that flip-flops every day? You don't know what to expect. I love it. All right, let's try it. Let's keep going. Question number 5. You are stuck in. What sound or noise do you love?
The sound of the engine in my car.
There you go, man. Hey, if it was a Lamborghini, yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah.
The opposite. No, question 6. What sound or noise do you hate?
When an agent calls me and says that they have bad news. Can't stand that.
Facts. I think a lot of realtors can relate to that here.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 7. What is your favorite curse word?
Fuck.
It's a popular one.
I use it all the time.
You got to make sure you don't slip in front of a client, right? Like, oh, never mind that.
No, I don't care.
You're like Gary Vee. It comes with working with me.
Yes, that's exactly it. But it's more authentic that way. So that's why I try not to filter things like that, because I curse like a sailor. So
it's part of who you are. Yeah.
I don't like it, then that's too damn bad.
Love it. There you go. Question number 8. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Oh, I would say like real estate. I don't know, man. That's why I'm doing real estate.
Yeah, that was the go-to.
Because I don't know what else I'd like to do.
So if you didn't need any technical skill and you didn't need years of experience, what would you, let's say, climb Mount Everest? Something like that. Heart surgeon, singer. Could you see yourself? I could see. For some reason, I'm looking at you now and I'm thinking Justin Timberlake.
That's flattered. Yeah, we could go with that. We'll go with that. Yeah, some kind of like in a band or something like that. Maybe not the lead singer, but
oh man, Andy G and the Who's or something. All right, awesome. I love that. Question 9, 2 away. Actually, no, we're down to 9. The opposite. What profession would you not like to do?
Oh, anything in the medical field.
Especially now.
Not for me.
Especially.
Not for me.
I have friends that are in the field. They're doctors, and they're going, man, I've lost connections with not just friends this past year, but family members too that disagree with what I think or whatever. It's crazy. Anyhow.
Yep.
We'll move on to the last question, guys. Question 10. Here we go. If heaven exists, Andy, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I would say that I made an impact. That would be the big thing.
I love that. You made a difference, right? Like your time here wasn't for nothing, right? All right. I really love that. Andy, thank you so much for hopping on. You've got just a busy schedule, and thank you for taking the time to chat with us for a little bit and sharing a lot of, the strategies and tactics that are working for you with a lot of us who obviously are watching you and learning from you as well. So thank you for joining us. What is there one takeaway? What's one advice you could give anyone watching that wants to, that wants to be at your level? She's trying to, just get better.
Honestly, like I've been saying all along, just stay consistent, stay persistent. When you have shitty days, you just keep going and it will turn around, and, you take care of the work and the work will take care of you. People say that all the time, and it really is true. And the more effort and work that you put into this industry, the more it will reward you for that.
Right. Amen. That's amazing, Andy. Thank you so much. For any of us watching that isn't already following you for some reason, where can they find you?
You can look me up on YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And you can also just go on Instagram, and it's AndyG_realtor. And I'm the one with the orange background. So definitely follow on Instagram. And if you go to YouTube, that's amazing as well.
No, I can attest to what he's saying. He's got tons of stuff. I spent easily, I think, an hour or two watching a lot of his stuff, studying what he was doing. And guys, there's definitely a lot for any of us to learn as well. So Andy, thank you so much for giving us your time and sharing so much. So we really appreciate you having, taking the time to share with us. And I'm just overwhelmed for you having taken the time to do this with me. Thank you so much.
I was saying, I really appreciate you having me on, and I apologize for this shitty cell service. I would have preferred to have been at my desk doing this, but as you know, us realtors have to be all over town all the time, and 12 o'clock lunch gets pushed to 1 o'clock, and you have to roll with the punches. So I apologize for not having the best cell service while we're doing this, but I really appreciate you having me on, and I'm looking forward to, doing this again sometime in the future.
Yes, no, certainly, guys. I don't think anyone minded the little connections here with everything that you were sharing. Trust me, if anything, I'm sure plenty of people are going to come back and replay it. So thank you again, boss. Have an amazing week. I know you're going to finish the year strong. We can't wait to see all the amazing things you're going to do in 2022. But you can bet your ass we're going to be following you. So we'll definitely keep tabs. And, buddy, thank you so much. Have a great day and see you again. And thanks for coming on the new School Marketing Podcast.
Thank you very much, man. Good to be here. You have a good one.
Later, boss. All right, guys, you heard it. Andy came on here and just dropped so much value on here. You guys definitely have to go back and watch this whole thing again. But for those of you that have been supporting the show, New School Marketing for Real Estate Pros, we'll continue interviewing in 2022. We've got a great interview coming up this Friday with JJ Hara. But until next, guys, thank you so much and have a great day.